Usually in games that have some relation to the platforming genre, the first jump you have to make is safe. Not so in Playdead's Limbo. If you fail your very first jump, you gruesomely die. But you also restart almost immediately before it. This first jump really defines the entire game and showcases what makes its deadly approach to puzzle platforming work. Even though during your first playthrough you will most certainly die often, you won't have to redo any of the previously completed segments, just try the current one again. Limbo doesn't want you to do the exact same thing twice, and the whole game is built around that. Sure, gameplay elements as well as short-term goals are reused, but always in different contexts, situations, something that makes what you're doing now different from what you've been doing previously. This is why it's practically impossible to talk about Limbo without spoiling it, but for the sake of discussion let's take one of the first gameplay elements you encounter, the bear trap. Two are placed right near each other, and should you attempt to jump over, you will die from the second one as the jump distance is not enough. So you understand that you have to hold the handle to move the traps around. Then you need to use a bear trap to dislodge a rotting corpse from a rope so you could climb higher. You now know that bear traps work on other objects in the environment. This prepares you for the eventual first encounter with the spider, where you will have to use a bear trap offensively to cut off some of its limbs. Then the bear trap is not seen for a while until it is used as a trap to spring on you as you swing on a rope. In the final encounter with the bear trap, there's two of them set to trigger when you're in particular positions, so you need to find a way to spring them while avoiding death. And after that, that's it. 5 uses, and Limbo decides that it has fully explored the possibilities of a bear trap as a gameplay element, and you will never see it in the game ever again. Every of these trap uses is potentially deadly, but there is no death that feels cheap, like there's no way you could have foreseen it. There's always something. Small rolling rocks before the bigger object comes, an incline of a tree trunk before it falls after breaking the branch holding it, that makes you go, yep, should have seen that coming. There is one particular location that comes very close to feeling cheap. 2 crushing traps in a row that look pretty much the same, but what is considered a safe spot and what is the pressure plate that activates the trap switches around. But that didn't annoy me in the context of everything else Limbo does. I also figured that I should have seen it coming cause, logically speaking, who would put 2 traps in a row that act exactly the same? And it's this twisted logic and wrapping all the puzzles and situations that creates such a powerful atmosphere in Limbo. Yes, there's the striking monochromatic art style that lacks music beyond some very subtle ambience every now and then. There's the basic premise of a boy searching for his sister in Limbo, which would be the only semblance of direct storytelling. With absolutely 0 words uttered in the game, you can only form theories based on level design, but it all sits on the shoulders of these progression arcs that smoothly flow from one segment onto another. It's one of the reasons why everyone who played the game remembers the spider as the first major progression arc players engage with. You will fight it, venture into its cave, make a dastardly escape from the relentless chasing, and eventually kill it. The bullying kids, the rain, the factory, the mind control slugs, all these form various intertwined arcs as you go through the surreal world of Limbo. And that's also precisely what makes the last third of the game so regrettably underwhelming in comparison. Don't get me wrong, the design is still amazing. Limbo is one of the few games where I wouldn't change a single thing in that regard. I absolutely love that the title doesn't put you into a series of mind-bending puzzles as much as it creates clever situations that you have to get out of. That really helps with the sense of flow, steady progression, but also the constant feeling of danger. However, in terms of contextualization, the last third just deals with boxes and magnets and machinery in a way that makes it feel the least organic and the most puzzly. And it's not like Limbo doesn't use boxes. It's probably one of the most common gameplay elements in the game, but in the first 2/3 there's always something interesting surrounding the boxes that makes them transcend the pure puzzle element, their usage and place in the world itself. While in this last third they're purely abstract objects that exist so you could complete the next set of obstacles. That said, it still creates enough theorization fuel for the unsolvable mystery that is the supposed story of Limbo, for which there will never be a true answer, although there are some things that can be implied for certain. But the underwhelming contextualization in the final segments of the game is a very noticeable, but pretty much forgivable blemish on what's otherwise a perfect title that will get a Statocritic rating of 105. And you know, while technically the top scoring of my system is 110, I like to look at 100 as the maximum score, and anything above that is just a bonus that showcases how a game goes beyond what it had to do to be perfect. And that's why Limbo is a must-play for everyone.